Just one night, and you will never be the same again. Reprogram your mind overnight. Right now, as you watch this, you're on the edge of something huge. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a completely new mindset. No hesitation, no doubt, just pure, unstoppable focus. All it takes is one night. This isn't some wishful thinking, this is real. Tonight, while everyone else sleeps, you're going to start reprogramming your mind at the deepest level. You'll wake up feeling stronger, more confident, and with a sense of drive that you've never experienced before. There's one word you need to hear. One key to unlocking the power that's been inside of you all along. And once you hear it, your life won't just change, it will transform. So don't wait. Don't let this moment pass. This is the night that everything shifts. Are you ready for it?
Did you know that every morning you wake up is a new opportunity to create your day? It's a fresh start to design the experience you want to have. Yet, so often we find ourselves letting external circumstances dictate our state of being. We allow the traffic, the weather, other people's moods, or any number of seemingly small things to bother us and throw us off balance. But what if I told you that you have the power to take back control? What if you could learn to act as if nothing bothers you, no matter what life throws your way? Sounds impossible, right? Well, let me break it down for you. We're all familiar with the age-old phrase, don't sweat the small stuff, but you see, from the mind's perspective, there is no small stuff or big stuff, it's all just stuff. It's all input, and you can choose how you're going to perceive and respond to that input. Think about it like this. Let's say you're driving to work and someone cuts you off in traffic. You instantly feel that surge of anger and frustration. Your heart rate increases, you might yell some choice words, and you're thrown into a foul mood for the rest of your commute and even after arriving at the office. But here's the thing, in that moment when the person cut you off, nothing actually happened to you. No physical harm came to you. You didn't get into an accident or suffer any tangible consequences. It was a mere event that your mind perceived as a threat or an offense. Now, I'm not saying it's okay for people to drive recklessly or cut others off, but I am saying that you have a choice in how you're going to respond to that event. You can let it ruin your entire day, or you can learn to act as if it doesn't bother you at all. You see, when something happens that we perceive as unpleasant or bothersome, there's a chemical release that takes place in the body. We go into a fight or flight response, our emotions take over, and all logical reasoning goes out the window. But what if you could interrupt that process? What if, at the moment you start to feel that emotional charge, you could consciously choose to short-circuit that response? It's not always easy, but with practice, you can train your mind and body to remain calm and centered, no matter what comes your way. Acting as if nothing bothers you means developing what I call ultimate life force traits. It means stepping into your personal power and reminding yourself that you are the creator of your reality, not the victim of circumstances. One of those ultimate life force traits is imperturbability, the ability to remain calm, poised, and unflustered in the face of any situation. It's the opposite of being easily disturbed or upset. It means knowing that you have the inner strength to weather any storm without losing your center. Another key trait is unflappability, not easily ruffled or thrown off balance. When you're unflappable, you move through life with grace and ease, not allowing external events to ruffle your feathers or shake your composure. Now I know what you might be thinking. Yeah, that all sounds great in theory, but how do I actually put this into practice? Well, my friends, it starts with awareness. You have to become hyper-aware of your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations in any given moment. When you feel that initial twinge of annoyance or anger brewing, recognize it for what it is, just an impulse, a signal from your brain. At that point, you have a choice. You can latch onto that feeling and let it consume you, or you can consciously interrupt the pattern. Take a deep breath, feel your feet grounding into the earth, and remind yourself, I am not going to let this bother me. I am in control of my state of being. It's like hitting the reset button in your mind and body. You're choosing to stay centered, poised, and unflustered, no matter what's happening around you. And let me tell you, when you start acting as if nothing can bother you, it's incredibly empowering. You'll find that you move through life with a newfound sense of ease and lightness. Things that used to set you off will barely even register. You'll stop sweating the small stuff because you'll realize that it's all small stuff in the grand scheme of things. And here's the real kicker. When you start embodying these ultimate life force traits of imperturbability and unflappability, you'll notice that your external reality starts to shift. The situations and people that used to bother you will have less and less of an effect. It's like you're operating on a whole different frequency, one of inner peace and centeredness. So how do you get to that place? Well, my friends, it takes practice, lots and lots of practice. But stick with me because the payoff is so worth it. Start by catching yourself throughout the day whenever you feel that emotional charge rising. Maybe someone says something that rubs you the wrong way, or you spill your coffee, or you hit every red light on your commute. Whatever it is, pause for a moment and simply observe the feeling without judging it or latching onto it. Breathe deeply and remind yourself, I am not going to let this bother me. I am in control of my state of being. Say it out loud if you need to. Let those words become your mantra, your anchor back to a state of calm and ease. At first, it might feel a bit forced or unnatural. That's okay. Anything worth having takes time and practice. But as you continue to make this a habit, you'll find that it gets easier and easier to act as if nothing bothers you. Eventually, it will become second nature. And as you start to embody these traits of imperturbability and unflappability, you'll notice that your entire life starts to transform. Situations that used to cause you immense stress and anxiety will barely even register. You'll move through your days with a sense of lightness and ease that you never thought possible. Of course, there will still be challenges and difficult moments. That's just part of life. But you'll find that you're able to navigate them with far more grace and resilience than ever before. You'll be able to maintain your center no matter what storms come your way. So my friends, I invite you to make a commitment to yourself today. Commit to learning how to act as if nothing bothers you. Commit to developing those ultimate life force traits of imperturbability and unflappability. It won't happen overnight, but with consistent practice and commitment, you'll find that you're able to move through life with a newfound sense of freedom, ease, and inner peace. And let me leave you with this. When you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, you'll not only transform your own experience of life, but you'll become a beacon of inspiration for those around you. Your calm, centered presence will be a light that others are drawn to, a reminder that true peace and empowerment come from within. So, are you ready to take back control of your state of being? Are you ready to step into your ultimate life force and learn to act as if nothing bothers you? If so, then let's get started. The journey begins today in this very moment. And I promise you, the rewards will be greater than you can even imagine. One of the biggest obstacles we face on this journey is our tendency to get caught up in the narrative of the situation. Our minds start spinning stories about why something is unfair, unjust, or just plain bothersome. But those stories only serve to amplify the emotional charge and make it even harder to stay centered. The key is to recognize that the stories are not real, they're just interpretations created by the mind. When you can separate yourself from the narrative and simply observe what is happening without all the mental commentary, it becomes much easier to respond from a place of calm clarity rather than reactivity. For example, let's go back to that scenario of someone cutting you off in traffic. Your mind might immediately start telling you stories like, that person is so rude and inconsiderate. Don't they know how to drive properly? This is going to make me late now. And with each thought, you get more and more amped up emotionally. But if you can catch yourself and simply state the facts without embellishment, someone merged into my lane, it neutralizes the situation. You don't have to make it into a big drama about you or assign negative intentions. It's just something that happened, plain and simple. From that place of objectivity, it's much easier to act as if it doesn't bother you. The other powerful practice is to reframe negative situations as opportunities for growth. When something happens that would normally push your buttons, you can choose to view it as a chance to exercise your imperturbability and unflappability muscles. It's like spiritual weightlifting for your equanimity. So instead of saying, "Oh, not this again," when faced with a trying circumstance, you can think to yourself, "Excellent, here's my opportunity to practice acting as if this doesn't bother me at all." Approach it with genuine curiosity and excitement about putting your skills to the test. With this mindset shift, you'll find that challenging situations no longer trigger the same knee-jerk emotional responses. You'll be able to respond from a place of consciousness rather than just unconscious reaction. And each time you're able to stay unflappable, it strengthens those neural pathways and makes it easier the next time. Speaking of neural pathways, understand that when you're actively working to change deep-seated patterns and habits, you're quite literally rewiring your brain. Those old neural connections that used to fire up anger, resentment, or irritation don't have to remain fixed. You can forge new pathways of equanimity through repetition of new thought and behavior patterns. It takes consistent practice, but just think about how freeing it would be to no longer be hostage to your knee-jerk emotional responses, to be able to navigate through life's inevitable ups and downs with grace, poise, and an inner calm that is truly unshakable. That is the gift of acting as if nothing bothers you. And as you embody this way of being more and more, it will extend into all areas of your life, not just in response to external circumstances, but also in how you relate to your own internal storms of thoughts and emotions. You'll find it easier to let things go, to forgive, to release resentments and grudges. Everything just becomes lighter and more fluid. Ultimately, learning to act as if nothing bothers you is about taking radical responsibility for your state of being. It's realizing that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of your reality through the energy and vibration you emit. When you interact with the world from a place of centeredness and inner calm, you naturally attract more of that reflected back. The situations and people that used to push your buttons will seem to miraculously fade away because you've risen to a higher level of consciousness that doesn't feed into that old cyclical energy anymore. So I invite you to embrace this practice wholeheartedly. Approach it with patience, commitment, and even a spirit of playfulness. See everything that life puts in front of you as an opportunity to stretch and strengthen those imperturbability muscles. And keep reminding yourself that you are the one with the power to choose your state in any given moment. The journey isn't always easy, but let me assure you it is worthwhile, because on the other side is a life of freedom, empowerment, and deep inner peace that is truly priceless. So let's get started, shall we? The path to becoming unflappable in the face of anything begins right here, right now. One of the core principles we need to embrace is the understanding that nothing that happens to us is inherently good or bad. Those are just labels and judgments we assign based on our conditioning. At their core, events are neutral. It's our perception and inner response that charges them with meaning and emotional weight. Think about a child-proof safety lid on a bottle of medication. To a child, that lid is just a frustrating obstacle preventing them from getting what they want. But to a parent, that same lid is a vital protection keeping their child safe from potential harm. Same lid, completely different perception based on context and programming. When we can step back and recognize that events in themselves are neutral, it becomes easier to act as if they don't bother us, because the truth is, from a higher vantage point, they actually don't. It's only when we get wrapped up in our personal narratives and emotional triggers that things start to bother us. Now, I'm not suggesting we become emotionally numb or disconnect from our humanity. Emotions are a natural part of the human experience, but we can learn to relate to them in a different way, as temporary guests rather than sticky, long-term residents taking up space in our psyche. The next time a situation arises that would normally push your buttons, try this. Instead of rejecting the emotion or struggling against it, simply open your awareness to receive it, almost like you're observing a cloud passing through the sky. Don't latch onto the story behind it, just feel the pure energetic sensation in your body as it arises, peaks, and ultimately dissipates. You might notice tightness in your chest or belly as anger moves through, or perhaps a flushed, heated sensation with annoyance. Rather than avoiding or suppressing these feelings, just open yourself up and consciously experience them. But don't fuel them with mental proliferation. Like watching a wave rise up and then pull back into the ocean, see with this curiosity and open acceptance, you'll find that emotions have far less charge and gravitational pull. They lose their stickiness. You create space for them to move through you rather than becoming enveloped or overwhelmed by them. This is key for being able to act as if external circumstances don't bother you, because here's the core truth. Nothing outside of you can actually bother you unless you give it permission to do so from the inside. Those triggers only have power because we've given them power over decades of patterning. But in this moment, you can make the conscious choice to withdraw that power, to no longer engage with those old conditioned reactions. It all comes back to realizing that the locus of control is within you, not in external people or circumstances. As you get more practiced at this inner work of separating your sense of self from external conditions, you'll likely notice two things. First, you'll find yourself getting bothered by fewer and fewer things in your daily life. Those situations that used to set you off like a rocket will feel more like gentle nudges that you can easily release. And second, on those occasions when you do get momentarily ruffled or knocked off center, you'll bounce back to your default mode of imperturbability much more quickly. The charge won't linger and start to bleed into other areas. You'll be able to recenter yourself rapidly and stay in a state of steady, conscious calm. This all points to one of the greatest benefits of cultivating this way of being. You'll conserve massive amounts of vital energy that used to get frittered away on negativity, stress, and reactivity. Just imagine what you could do, create, and experience in life when you're no longer leaking life force needlessly. You'll have so much more presence, clarity, and personal power available to focus on what really matters to you. Your relationships will transform as you show up as a grounded, non-reactive anchor. You'll make decisions from a place of discernment rather than being swayed by every passing emotional impulse. In many ancient wisdom traditions, the highest achievement a human being could attain was considered to be the state of utter imperturbability, to remain poised, unwavering, and soul-steadied in the face of any circumstance, whether poverty or wealth, loss or gain, pleasure or pain. The sages knew that in such a state of imperturbable realization, we become architects of our reality rather than victims of happenstance. We live as conscious creators, unflustered by the ups and downs that ruffle the feathers of those still bound to reaction and lack of self-mastery. Of course, such heights of self-actualization are a journey of committed practice over many lifetimes. But the beautiful thing is, we can start walking that path today in this very moment, simply by setting the intention to act as if nothing bothers us. With that intention firmly rooted, every issue or challenge that arises becomes an opportunity to stretch and strengthen our imperturbability muscles a little more. We get to practice the art of staying unwavering amidst any storm. And each time we do, we fortify those neural pathways of inner calm and reinforce new patterns for the mind and body. Eventually, being imperturbable, unflappable, and acting as if nothing bothers you will become your natural, embodied state of being, not something you have to work at, but how you simply experience yourself moving through life, poised, grounded, soul-centered. From that bedrock of realized equanimity, your actions, choices, and creations will flow with harmony, wisdom, and grace. So keep training, keep practicing, keep recommitting to the intention every day. Celebrate your successes, have compassion for yourself on the days that are more challenging, but never give up on your ability to master acting as if nothing bothers you. Because in doing so, you'll be doing more than just learning to ride the waves of life's ups and downs with skill. You'll be undertaking the supreme spiritual work of reclaiming your divine birthright as an empowered, sovereign creator being. And that is the grandest journey any of us can undertake in this human experience. So let's walk that path together, shall we? A life of profound freedom and unwavering inner peace awaits. At the heart of it is the understanding that we are not our thoughts, emotions, or external circumstances. We are the conscious awareness beholding all of those transient phenomena. The thoughts will arise and pass away, the emotions will ebb and flow, situations will constantly be changing around us, but our true nature remains unchanged, a field of pure potentiality, unbothered by the dance of impermanence. But when we're able to firmly anchor ourselves in that realization of our deepest, most fundamental self, the world around us takes on a different hue. The challenges, frustrations, disappointments, and grievances that used to trigger us and bother us no longer have the same weight or gravitational pull, because we recognize that all of those experiences are just temporary guests in the infinite expanse of our being. They come, we witness them with open curiosity and acceptance, and eventually they go like clouds passing through a wide open sky. Our unshakable essence remains untroubled and serene. This isn't a bypass or spiritual bypassing of authentic human feeling and experience. It's not about becoming numb or checked out from the richness of life. Quite the opposite, in fact. By no longer unconsciously resisting or attaching to the changing phenomena around us, we open ourselves to experiencing everything with a freshness, vividness, and depth that's simply not possible when we're chained to our reactive patterns. Think of a time when you laughed until you cried, or felt waves of soul-stirring gratitude, or gazed at a newborn baby with joyful awe. In those moments, were you concerned about what someone said that upset you earlier? Were you distracted by that rude driver who cut you off? Of course not. You were fully immersed and absorbed.